welcome to Annie 324 Character Creation. I am John Cohn. I am going to be the instructor for the course. I just want to really quickly make this video. I'm going to put it into an announcement just so you can see how the course runs. It should run like every other course, basically, that you have taken at Wilmington. But I just thought I would introduce myself and just give you a general idea of how the course is. All right, so first off, every week I'm going to make an announcement. This will be an announcement itself. I already sent one earlier. So just be on the lookout for announcements. I believe they come in as emails as well. You are responsible for anything that's in an announcement. You have to have read that, okay? There's no excuse of like, oh, I didn't see it. That's not an acceptable excuse. So just so you are aware, make sure you do that. The syllabus is here. It's very generic. I wouldn't bother even really looking at it. You can get most of what you need from the rest of the course. Okay, that being said, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to go through the modules, okay? And you're just going to go down the line, and you just, week 1, you can see it has the date of the week, of the beginning of the week, and then you just go down the line, and that's what you complete for each week, okay? So the introduction, really, honestly, is kind of not that important. Neither are resources. Typically, I don't even know if there is anything in the resources. Introduction just says what we're teaching, or what we're doing each week. Really, you don't need to read that. The only thing you really need to do are the assignments. So for this week, there'll be an assignment and there'll be a discussion board because everyone loves discussion boards, right? I know it's your favorite thing. So this week's discussion board, I'm pretty sure, let me see what that one is. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be, oh, so basically you're just going to share your turnaround sketch that is this week's assignment, okay? So you're going to make this week's assignment and then you're going to post it here. I'm not making you do a whole like, oh, my name is Paul and I like Ghostbusters or something, right? So, yeah. So you can do the assignment, you do the discussion board. Then next week, there'll be the assignment you have to do. Every week will be an assignment, and each assignment builds on the previous assignment, okay? So, so you can't really do week 3 until you get week 2 done, and then you got to do week 3 to do 4, so on and so forth. Inevitably, over the entirety of the course, what you're going to do is you're going to create one character, okay? You're going to, it can be whatever you like for the most part. It should be bipedal, but if you want to do something anthropomorphic, that's fine. I would like it to be anything, like a quadruped and what have you. But unfortunately, just because I need you to be able to follow the tutorials, especially when we get into rigging, if you rig a quadruped, it's different than a biped, so that's why it's going to have to be kind of a bipedal character, okay? You can have a different number of fingers, and the proportions can be all different. You can do a really varied design. However, it still needs to be bipedal, just so that we can make a generic key rig, okay? So you're just going to go right down the line until you get to the end. And by the time you're done, you follow all these weeks, you will find that you will have a completed character that it has both modeled, textured, sculpted, and rigged, and ready to be animated. Now, as far as that character is concerned, it can be whatever you like. The first assignment is a turnaround assignment. Basically, I want you to create a front, 3/4, and side view because you can use those as image planes inside of Maya in order to model. And you just use it. If you're working in the industry, that's what you would receive. You'd read some sort of character sheet, and then you'd use that to create your 3D models from. Now, that being said, it does not need to be an original character. It could be a character that already exists. It could be one of your friends' characters. I don't really care what the character is. It does not have to be original. 2 things with this, though. One is this turnaround sketch has to be your own drawing. So I will be very lenient on this. As long as you do the drawing and it doesn't look like you spend 2.5 seconds on it, you'll get a good grade. So even if you're, I know some of you might not be necessarily traditional artists. I'm not as concerned about that, okay? Now, that being said, if you're using your own drawing for your image planes and they are junky, that's going to make it worse. So if you do use a character that already exists, if you can find a turnaround sketch of them, you can use that for the later assignments if you want. However, you still need to draw your own for this assignment, okay? So what that means is if you can find a nice turnaround sketch and you have like whatever, you can use those for the later assignments. It's just this one, just because it'd be unfair just for you to drop in a picture you found, right? That's not the same thing, okay? Another thing is, you'll notice that I already unlocked them all. So you could just go right down the line. If you want to finish this thing in 3 weeks, go for it, okay? I would even suggest it, because if you can get this course done earlier, then you can concentrate on the other courses, because if you you would have already, this is a later course, so you know that when you get to the end, right, everything is projects. These are all studio courses, right, when you're a game design student or an animation student, and it gets very heavy at the very end. So I suggest getting ahead, and then you can finish it ahead of time. So feel free to just move right on down. Now, as far as the assignments are concerned, you're going to see, like I said, every week has an assignment, and then there's discussion boards basically every other week. Okay, and it's just a way of having you being able to show your work to your peers. That's all it's for, because obviously if we were in class, everyone would look at everybody's things, and it's just for you to show what you have done. Okay, so that's 20%, and the 80% are just these assignments. So feel free just to get these done. Now, I will accept any assignment late. Okay, so if you don't get this in by the end of the week, by September 1st, that's fine. You can still submit it. You're just going to get a letter grade reduction. Now, that being said, you get a letter grade reduction all the way from week 1 all the way to the end. I don't just keep taking more and more letter grades because it just gets to the point where you're not going to get any value. You might as well not bother doing it. So, and if you submit something and it's not particularly great, and then you're like, oh man, I want to redo it, and you resubmit it, you could still get full credit. I'm not going to dock you for submitting something later. So just get something in initially so that you don't get docked. Obviously, put your best effort in. You also don't want to get behind in the course because, again, you can't like skip assignments and come back to the other ones. You're going to have to do that one. So make sure that you complete those. This is going to be a very time-consuming class. Just by the nature of what we're creating, if you're familiar with modeling. So just be aware of that. Obviously, there's also a rigging component. Now, if you do get stuck on an assignment, just reach out to me. Just email jonathan.r.cone@wilmu.edu. There's actually an email thing. I thought there was. There's a way to email. I'm not sure. You can just use your regular email. You can do it that way too. Just email me, and if it's something easy, I'll just respond with a written thing saying, oh, you just need to do this, right? If it's a little bit more complicated, what I'll do is I will make a short tutorial video explaining how to fix your issue. Now, when you do email me, make sure that you email me what the issue is. Don't say, oh, it's not working. That doesn't tell me anything. What the problem is, as well as your working file, so that way I can open it up and do it in front of you. If I don't have your file, I can't find the issue, right? So I need you to give that to me as well. So make sure you're always attaching your work. Okay, so I think that was most everything. Just try not to get behind. That's the number one thing that usually causes issue for people. If you go through and you do all your work late, you end up with a B, even though you would have, I mean, if you did everything perfect, you end up with a B just because you handed things in late. You're going to have to do it anyway. You might as well do it on time. I would just make sure you try to start these in the beginning of the week. If you ask me questions at the end of the week, I may not be able to get to them, because if everybody asks me questions at the end of the week, I might, and then you're like, oh, it's late because I didn't get a response. Well, I'm doing the best I can, all right? So make sure that you're keeping an eye on your grades, so on and so forth. If you have any questions, like I mentioned earlier, just email me. I look forward to seeing what you guys make. Good luck.